Hello, hello, hello. How we doing this evening? We ready or what? Ready to get it in? How was work? That's what's up. Okay, today is August 11th. Y'all know what that means or what the significance of August 11th is? Anybody? Well, on this day, roughly 53 years ago, 1973, DJ Kool Herc threw a back-to-school party in the Bronx and invented the greatest culture on earth. That's right. Hip hop and hip hop culture started on August 11th. Right, that's right. Okay, so also today in legal news, today was day 2 of the trial. So just to give you a rundown on what all we're going to discuss today. So we're going to go over what's going on with the trial, the TUPAC Keefe D trial that's happening right now. And the jury questions from day 1 are fascinating. They're asking potential jurors if silly. I mean, I don't know if this is silly enough, but as a potential jurors, if they've ever listened to Tupac. So we're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss NBA YoungBoy. Anybody heard of him? He's allegedly contemplating retirement. One of 2 more albums and one last tour, and he's going to call it a wrap. Pun intended. Fantano gave Uzi Verse new EP a 1 on a scale of 1 to 10, a light 1 at that. The discourse is on fire as a result. Mr. Charleston White, you might find this hard to believe. Charleston White himself got arrested and recently released within a news cycle. So we got hip hop's birthday. Pooh Shiesty sitting on top of the world right now. All eyes on Shiesty is number 1 right now, Apple Music. And Little Reese is coming home. All right. Give it up. Show some love. Appreciate it. So our lead story today is day 2 of the Keefe D trial here in Las Vegas, downtown, picking out 12 people from those who don't have an opinion, allegedly, on Tupac. That seems like a tough one. I guess depending on the age of these people, maybe they've never heard Tupac, never listened to Tupac. Day 1 recap, what actually happened in the courtroom. So that was yesterday. So yesterday there was a 75-person jury pool. Individuals were questioned, and I believe they're still being questioned now. But prospective jurors were asked their favorite books and movies, and whether they've listened to Tupac's music. They may have wanted to know if they saw his movies too, because you know he kind of did that also. But imagine under oath discussing your like Spotify history. But you know, what do you already know about this this unaliving case with Davis's alleged involvement, and have you formed an opinion? You know, here's the problem. Keefe D did a decade of interviews and confessing. You know, that's a long time. You know, so the incident was 30 years ago. He did a last 10 years talking about it to whoever would listen. And the jury pool didn't hear about the case, didn't hear about this case from the news. Some of them heard about it from the defendant himself, or potentially could have, because he was saying it to everybody. I mean, he was selling a book with his story in it. He gave a Vlad interview with him giving his testimony. So, you know, so like I believe it was it CNN? One of the major news outlets said that he's the defendant and the number one witness so to his crime. So, but anyway, they are trying to find 12 people as we speak to represent a jury of his peers. So that may be difficult. But let's see this real quick.
Is that justice has been foregone years ago. The night my cousin was murdered, should have been an intense investigation at that time. We're here 30 years later. What he admitted, of course, I mean, like, what does that mean? Like, he admitted his role in the murder of Tupac Shakur continuously, repeatedly. He was screaming it out publicly. He's facing serious charges. He's facing time, a lot of time. He's an elderly person now. So, of course, he's going to evade accountability by saying or claiming that he embellished what he proudly boasted about for the last 15 years. I would do the same thing. You know, I come from that element myself, the criminal element. So I understand the self-preservation, and I understand why he claims that he embellished everything that he said previously. My belief is that.
All right, that well stated. Sounds like he has some valid points there. You know, why wasn't more of an investigation done at the time? Maybe it was. I don't know. You tell me. Anybody know? Answer in the chat if you do. It seemed like it's maybe a little too late. Let's see. So, question for the chat. Who do you, I won't say who. How many people can it possibly be who hasn't absorbed 30 years of documentaries on the Tupac case, the Vlad TV clips of Keefe D giving his side of it, podcast breakdown. How can it really be that many people out there who haven't had any type of exposure to this at all, who would be really new to this whole thing? Like, who? Tupac. Who is that? He was what? He was shot here in Vegas? Wow. I guess it's possible, but it just doesn't seem very likely. But who knows? But they still have to settle on someone, so we'll see. So next up, we have NBA YoungBoy. So 1 or 2 more albums, 1 final tour, and he's done with music, according to him. From one of the most streamed artists of his generation, the man's catalog runs numbers in his sleep. This is post house arrest, post everything, fresh off Mellow Rack's era, and a visible. Damn, why can't I say that? And a visible life reset. Retirement talk isn't like for rappers anyway. It's not like retirement talk for anybody else. I mean, they'll say retirement, but then they don't really do it. But something about NBA YoungBoy, he's genuinely unpredictable enough to actually maybe go through with it. When I think about retirement, I think about like Jay-Z in 2003. He's been retiring since then. Well, I mean, according to him, he's been retired, out of retirement. I'm leaving. He's threatening, and he's dropped a verse last week on Beyonce's album. So I don't know. Is retirement different for some people? Maybe it is. But NBA YoungBoy's relationship with fame has always read a little different than maybe with others. He said versions of like, I don't want this for like years, But question for the chat. Let's talk about it. Does NBA YoungBoy actually walk away? Leave your answers in the chat. And if he does, what do you think his legacy actually is? Is his legacy like a generational hit maker, cautionary tale, both? Well, hey, I'll give you my take on it. It has to be a little bit of both. Has to be. I can't say cautionary tale because he has a lot of production over his hip hop career. He's got a lot done. So I can't say a cautionary tale. But he's made enough mistakes. And I don't think he's really reached his full potential yet. Mainly because of I would think some of the legal troubles he's gotten himself into has kind of held him back to a certain degree. So I would say a little bit of both. I'd like to see these people who are like uber talented to really put that work in, and not necessarily doesn't mean that you don't have any negative press or any type of hiccups along the way. I mean, that's just a part of being human. We're not perfect. But, federal charges, I mean, really, I mean, there's no way that could have been avoided. House arrest and all this other stuff. I mean, how are you getting your money on house arrest? How are you doing the collabs and getting all the work done, being as productive as you can be with the time that you have when you have to live under these type of rules because you've gotten in trouble for whatever, so that's why I say both, but that's one man's opinion. I don't know what's your opinion. Because even with that, he was still pretty productive, even with that. So I just could only imagine what that would have looked like if he was able to focus on his craft, day after day. No distractions. Focus on your craft. Focus. Like day in and day out. Focus. What would that look like? All right. Next up, what's our next topic? We have. Okay.
Or were they always just like making basic ass chewing gum music?
That makes like absolutely no sense. How are you going to be a pioneer?
To ask yourself, was Uzi ever really operating at that high of a level? Or were they always just like making basic ass chewing gum music?
That makes like absolutely no sense. How are you going to be a pioneer, start an entire new wave, do something completely new, start a whole new age of rappers that look up to you, but it's chewing gum music? To me, that doesn't make sense.
And to ask yourself.
Okay. So, just a little backstory. Uzi Vert got a 1 out of 10 from Fantano for his Maverick album, Almost Forever. He said like a light was mercy. So Fantano is one of the most influential critics alive, and he's considered one of the most reliable and engaging as far as like music discourse. So anyway, he gave it a 1 out of 10, which sent the internet off the deep end. I have my doubts if he actually believes that. That's what he's saying. People are outraged. They're calling it, he's trolling. It's his promotional, but Uzi fans are already flooding the replies, which is exactly the mechanism I believe that they were looking for when they would say something like that. I heard the album. I mean, a 1 out of 10. I think that's a bit extreme. I mean, why a 1? Really, a 1? So the real question is, was the EP really that rough? Or is like the surprise drop grading like on a curve fair? Is that fair at all? What are your thoughts on that? I think it was to get a reaction that they ultimately got. I think that this was excellent marketing because everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about how it's nonsense, it's BS, it's not fair, it's yada yada, and people are listening. So I would imagine that album does fairly well here in the near future, just because it's going to have a lot of attention, a lot of streams, a lot of people. I'll be the judge of that. A 1, yeah, right. What a crock. And so there you go. Next up, we got Happy Birthday Hip Hop. Happy 53rd birthday, hip hop. Kool Herc. 1520 Sedgwick Ave, 1973. So, chat, drop the song that made you fall in love with hip hop, with the culture. That might be it better. Drop the song that made you fall in love with hip hop culture. Best answers close the show. So NBA YoungBoy with Funny Marco follow-up. Plus Pooh Shiesty. Last Man Standing hits #1 on Apple Music's hip hop chart. And the Incarcerated Rollout is now a #1 album and a #1 single. Unprecedented. Right? Charleston White speed run, allegedly arrested in Texas for weapons charges, marijuana charges, no driver's license per reports. So he's been the butt of a lot of jokes in social media. So he was recently released, and people are having fun with it.
And that's why I was like, why are you running? Like, just come talk to me. He ran back into the police station, y'all.
Y'all already know how Charleston White get. He was in fear for his life. Charleston White is going to say and do what he wants, but at the end of the day, he's going to protect himself. I don't think y'all have realized this yet. He says a lot of things and he makes a lot of frenemies. He just does. So he protects himself. He's seen that somebody was waiting for him on the outside of the county jail that he did not know. He don't know your intentions. Yes, he's going to run. That's Charleston White. That's what he does. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Like and follow for more. Charleston White was just released from the county jail, and he had a... So
that's the story with Mr. Charleston. But I understand that, though. I understand. I mean, with all the issues that he has going on outside, for somebody to be waiting for him to get out of jail, I would understand how he would take off running if somebody were to recognize him in the middle of the night and say, Charleston. No, I'll run back inside too. I mean, that's pretty I think that's a wise decision.
Album has officially dropped. It's released under 1017 Records, so make no mistake about it. Roderick Davis, Gucci Mane, is getting paid off this album. Before Pooh Shiesty gets $1. There's so many controversial lyrics in this album that everybody's like, yo, like this is gonna lead to more charges, because it sounds like so many bars on here, you'd be like, yo, this sounds like he's really premeditating this whole Gucci Mane shit. He got bars on there talking about we turn the tough niggas into snitches, like we get the tough niggas to snitch on us. And like we make the gangsters, like we're not verbatim, but that's pretty much what he was saying. And people were saying like it's like he knew he was gonna go do the shit he was rapping about before he even went back to jail for this shit. Is crazy.
He's really talking. Listen to it.
It's crash out music. He said if you ain't shot nobody in 3 years, burn your shiesty mask. I said, this nigga different.
You say you never see a shit happen with no words?
Yo, bro, shiesty music make you crash out. No. If you want to go do life in prison, listen to this album. That shit. He's talking
about the politics.
Bro, he talking about, yo, y'all not too tough, so I'm going to tuck the knife away. I'm going to just rock this lock in a sock. Like, this nigga's rapping about some jail shit that if you don't know what he's talking about, it'll go right over your head. But he's talking about walking the prison yard and being tough. And
he said there's no intensive care units in the South. So in South Memphis. So if you better be careful. You better go up north with that.
Pooh Shiesty's new album has officially.
Streets is talking. Streets is listening. Streets is listening. Streets is talking. Yeah. So, Pooh Shiesty is definitely not the album. Definitely not the album you would want while you have some serious felony charges hanging over you. Definitely not the album you would want when you're in some trouble and somebody may listen to your lyrics and make a character judgment, which, I don't know if that's necessarily fair. I don't know that that's necessarily fair. I mean, do other writers, get the same treatment? Do actors and actresses, do they get treated like the roles they play? I know if you're getting in trouble and it kind of, I guess some type of similarity between the roles, the lyrics and your behavior, maybe it's easy to say, well, man, this is all you. But, is that fair? Is that fair? Tell the truth. Okay. Let's see.
And literally like 2 days later, I'm all over the internet, I'm being called pussy. I'm pregnant, emotions high, like
hormonal.
Yeah.
mood
And it's
swing.
someone I dead eyes looked at as a friend. Like I understand this industry shit first too,
Right.
but we was on a texting basis. So I
Yeah.
feel like, yeah, you tweeted to the world, but we got each other number.
Yeah.
So
so y'all never talked personally after that, around that?
So then like probably like 2 months later, something like that, she did text me, but by that time I'm like, that ain't even like, I'm not even thinking about that shit no more. You know what I'm saying? So
Have y'all spoke since then?
Since the song
No.
has
They haven't spoke since the record came out.
Would you be open to the conversation, or you just
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm open to the conversation. Airtime remix and
Well, the Lotto beef energy continues to generate consequences. What do y'all think? That makes sense or what? In other news,
Chicago legend Lil Reese might be coming home real soon. He was sentenced to 5 years back in October 2024 for aggravated assault of a family member. Now he's been approved for parole, eligible as early as this August. His full release date was set for 2029, but it looks like he could be out way sooner. Y'all ready to see Reese back? Chicago legend Lil Reese might be coming home real soon. He was sentenced to 5 years back in October 2024 for aggravated assault of a family.
all right, Lil Reese coming home. Wish him a real fresh start. Let's see. So apparently at a recent Katy Perry concert, she tributes to Chief Keefe, a tribute to Chief Keefe goes viral. A sentence from a simulation, and yet Sosa's influence is now officially pop canon. Almighty, so walked, so everybody could drill.
The white players, they got every dime of their money. They ain't got to worry about none of that. They really don't. I got 16 brothers. I bet I own 7 homes right now in Florida. And I got 7 homes and I got 7 niggas in all of them homes, and they won't leave. And they ain't paid rent in 30 years. And they'll call me and say, hey, Michael, we need some new cabinets in there. I said, they put the cabinets in the house. You've been staying there for 30 years. You ain't paid rent or nothing. And what are you doing? We have these burdens that they don't, because our family felt, remember I brought you some sneakers when you were in the 8th grade. You should be able to get me this house. Like, nigga, that was sneakers. Why can't I get you some Jordans? Why do I gotta get you a house? The white players, they got every dime of their money. They ain't got to worry about none of that. I got 16 brothers. I bet I own 7 homes right now in Florida. And I got 7 homes.
Yeah, I think this is a common problem for a lot of athletes that maybe come from, maybe that are not from like a well-to-do family. Some athletes are that. Some black athletes are from, dad was an athlete, mama was an athlete, granddaddy was an athlete. Some, or still, they still could be, middle class, Huxtables. But if you coming from other side of the tracks, you may have a whole lot of people you got to bring with you. And this is maybe pretty common of a situation for, the one who made it out, who didn't, switch up on his family, so I mean that can happen. I'm sure while Mr. Irvin gives a story, gives it, he can have fun with it. I'm sure he's glad at the end of the day he can help his family. So, especially 7 houses, that means a lot of people benefiting from the playmaker being a playmaker at some point in his life. Living off those cowboy dollars. So it's a lot of people. 7 houses. That's 7 families. That's a lot of people that are doing better as a result. Long term, 30 years rent free. What can you not do with 30 years of shelter rent free? You can do a lot with that. You should be able to do a lot with that. I mean, that's a blessing from upstairs to get that. However you got it. But that's that, that family tax conversation. The family gonna tax you too. That's like it's different than the IRS. They hit hard too. I'm not saying they don't hit hard, but family, will see you doing well and say, hey, bro, cousin, uncle, grandpa, daddy, whoever, like help. So what you gonna do? You gonna help or what? Like we covered last week, like Rocky, ASAP Rocky's paying his grandmother's whole building. You know, everybody in there rent is paid thanks to ASAP Rocky's generosity. So, you know. You know, it's like these athletes and these artists are running a private housing authority. So in other news, it appears that the Enes Kanter story is becoming a full genre at this point, because he's getting some company from another former NBA athlete. Mr. Royce White is officially declaring for the WNBA, according to sources. However, you know, the league is still silent on the matter. So we'll see, you know, what does that mean? You know, does that mean something? Are they trying to tell us something? Are they going to make a ruling? Are they going to make a statement on it? I mean, everybody's watching. So let's see. Next story is Denzel Curry.
Unlocked 2.0 happened.
Oh, damn. Never.
You can't even like give us a little bit of hope. Be like, just like not right now.
Not happening.
What about like later? You know?
No. Oh, the bullshit.
You got me for a second.
And you know this, man. It's gonna happen at some point, just not now.
When is Unlocked 2.0 happen?
Oh, damn. Never.
You can't even like give us a little bit of hope. Be like, just like not right now.
Not happening.
What?
Well, there you go. He said it. You heard it from the horse's mouth, as they say. So it's coming. Unlock 2. Who's waiting for that? The sequel. Nobody expected, and yet everyone actually wanted. So let's go back. Yeah. Let's go back to the jury. Let's do some Q&A, chat. Could you serve on this jury and be impartial? Let's be honest. And which side, prosecution or defense, what side benefits from jurors who've already been exposed to the confessions? Do you think anyone has the advantage with that? I think the prosecution would have the advantage with that, because if you already seen the confession, maybe you already have an opinion. I mean, because it sounds like he knows what he's talking about. He comes off really convincing, you know. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, you know, if you've seen it. NBA YoungBoy retirement. Real or Jay-Z style retirement? There's no wrong answers. I think if he retired now, it'd have to be a Jay-Z style. I mean, that's what he does. What is he gonna do? You know, go sell furniture, What is he gonna do? Seriously, what does he do? He's gonna be a streamer if he's not recording albums. I don't. You know, if you're not like some type of hardcore gamer, I don't know how you stream like how these guys stream. You know, the ones that are making all the money. Because what are you gonna do to hold the attention all day long? You know, I don't. What is there for a retired rapper to do that's giving up on rap early in his prime rap years? What is there to do? Is he gonna have a podcast or something? I mean, that's more like retirement, but you know, is he old enough for that? That might be a little too, he might be a little too young for that game. And let's revisit hip hop's birthday, 53. The culture. All right. Let's see this real quick.
And without one man, it likely wouldn't be what it is today. My name is John, and this is Cultural Institutions, where we talk about the people who built modern day culture. This episode is about the legend, the OG, widely recognized as one of the founders of hip hop culture, DJ Kool Herc. Herc was born Clive Campbell in Kingston, Jamaica, and he grew up around sound system culture. That meant powerful speakers, DJs controlling the crowd, voices talking over records, all that. And when his family moved to the Bronx in 1967, he took those sensibilities with him. On August 11, 1973, his younger sister Cindy rented the recreation room at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue for a back-to-school party. She wanted to raise money for the new clothes, and Herc decided to provide the music. Now, that night has widely become recognized as hip-hop's foundational birthday. Depending on who you ask, they'll say that hip-hop didn't come from one person on one particular night, but Herc did give the culture a foundational technique that helped it spread. He noticed that dancers were waiting for the break. Now, this is the moment where the vocals drop out and all you hear is the drums taking over. So, using two turntables, he extended the break to give B-boys and B-girls more room to develop their own language. His parties eventually outgrew the rec room and they moved into larger venues. Other Bronx DJs watched the blueprint. They helped advance it. That means Grandmaster Flash, he made mixing more precise, and others used the party to build community. Later, we see that this turned into a global culture as we live in now, but Herc was there before there was a business model. And hip-hop now moves through fashion, film, art, advertising, technology. Any industry that you name, hip-hop has moved through it. So as you celebrate hip-hop's birthday this day or this month, remember the OGs, tap in with them, salute them. Shout out to Kool Herc. I'll see y'all next time.
Ryan, you seen that? You heard that. Kool Herc in the building. Shout out. So okay. Did anybody already know that about hip hop? Today's hip hop's birthday. Anybody? All right, so final count. So this is day 2, Vegas. 75 people in the jury pool. You know, one impossible question. Who hasn't heard Tupac? Who hasn't heard of Tupac? Who hasn't heard his music? Who hasn't seen him on screen? Who has no contact? That's what they're looking for. NBA YoungBoy says he's leaving music. He's giving it up. Do we believe him? The catalog says he never will. Uzi Vert caught a light one from the melon. Was that fair? Was that just? What do we think? What are our thoughts? The streamers say otherwise. Charleston White in and out of jail faster than a news cycle, allegedly. Pooh Shiesty, #1 album, #1 single from the inside. August belongs to Shiesty and hip hop. 53 years today. Has everyone heard Pooh Shiesty? No? Check it out. from the rec room in the Bronx to a Vegas courtroom, and still the loudest thing on earth. Happy birthday to the culture. That's the count. Trial day 3 is tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is the Regroup presented by the Clout Report, where the clout gets counted. We is out.